intentional. It was just the way they landed on his leg. It wasn't intentional at all. It's just the force they cut through the line, and they treated Lane Taylor.
Blame Lane Taylor for laying on his ass.
Yep. Yeah, they treated him like a bad head. It wasn't pretty last year in week 1 against those two. And then Bilo Nichols ain't no slump. He was rated pretty high as well for an end, but quietly. Then you also have the backups and Robertson Harris. He's another beast behind Hicks that they're interchangeable and they're able to go in and just bull rush offensive line pockets and get right to the QB. Nothing really has to be said about the defensive line, man. They're really studly. Ryan, you got anything else to say about this defensive line for the Bears?
Just that Akeem Hicks scares me.
Hey, I am upset about one thing.
Nightmares about week 1 last year still.
Yeah.
He tried to steal Raji's the Freezer nickname. Someone made the Bears PR design department made a picture of him and said the Freezer, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, Raji earned that damn nickname, especially after getting an interception, pick 6 in the Soldier Field himself. So I was mad when I saw that. I don't care if the fridge was a Bears name. The Freezer is B.J. Raji, especially with the dance. I'm sorry, I can't allow that.
All right, keep going, Dave.
All right, outside linebackers. Khalil Mack, the guy all Packers fans wanted. I wanted him, not going to lie. Looking back on it now, we still end up with a good situation. But, man, Khalil Mack can just take over games. The guy is nasty. Still waiting on the other side for Leonard Floyd to kind of take that next pro-level jump. He showed some flashes in his rookie year, but, man, just can't seem to put it together for getting going. They have a backup in Aaron Lynch, but he can't stay healthy. That guy is just injury-prone. He showed flashes in San Fran, showed flashes in Chicago, but he can't play a full season past 8 games. I can't believe it. And then it goes right in to the inside linebackers, Raquan Smith and Danny Trevathan. 2 studs. The guys were both of them rated in the top 10 in PFF linebacker category. Raquan is just a beast with coverage, sideline speed, and Danny is just a mean SOB in the middle. He'll light you up. Ask Devontae Adams. Yeah, it was a cheap shot, but, man, he has no mercy, and that defense has an identity. They like to keep it. Moving on to the corners, man, the guy we could have had last year, I remember Kyle Fuller, Gutekunst tried to steal him away. Bears smartly matched his offer and kept Fuller, and he ended up having a really damn good season. Prince Amukamara is a guy that he's been a shutdown guy for them, and he's had a kind of a bounced around places here and there, and he finally landed in Chicago after New York, and he's done pretty well. And him and Fuller are a good tandem. And then we get to I'm going to get to the 2 names of the last that you guys don't like, guys, just like me. But I got to mention Eddie. Man, Eddie looks really damn good. I still can't believe he was a 4th-round pick. I know he broke his leg, but god dang, after seeing him play last year, he was just all over the field. And
Earl Thomas has broke his leg twice and came back to still be a stud. So that injury doesn't worry me as far as his athleticism.
Yeah, and Eddie he's nasty. He has that, and it's like being on those other guys just give him that nasty factor, and it's really a good thing to see. I know he's a rival, but he's a really talented kid.
Bears
and
Nation.
Then you have
Bears Nation. If y'all want to start sounding smart, really smart, and actually being smart, if you're going to pick a defensive player in your DB group to brag about and say is really, really good, stop picking Ha-Ha Clinton Dix and start hyping up Eddie Jackson. Start hyping up Eddie Jackson, because that kid is a stud, and that's coming from
Which brings me to my next point. The Achilles heel of the Bears defense.
The downfall of all we just talked about.
They didn't have a problem last year on defense. There was not one problem. They were rated number 1. They were freaking amazing. 15-plus turnover differential, 27 interceptions, 20 friggin' 7. Like, they literally carried that Bears team whenever Mitch screwed up and threw a goddamn pick or an errant pass. And if Bears fans want to argue that, he still showed progression, that's bullcrap. I'm sorry. Mitch had more games on the line that defense closed out for him, especially like the Arizona game or the Lions games. Come on, man. Like, I know Chase Daniel played in one Lions game, but the other one, the defense is.
How are we talking about Mitch Trubisky when we're talking about Ha Clinton?
I'm just saying because how good the all-around team of the defense was last year. So what I was going to get to, they took Adrian Amos, let him walk, and where do you walk to? Right across the street to Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, signed him a nice, hefty contract because he earned it. He was the number 8 safety in the league last year, and Chicago signed Clinton Dix to a $3 million contract for 1 year after the Redskins wouldn't even try and re-sign him to the team he was on. Bears fans, this is no disrespect. It's not talking crap because he's an ex-Packer. It's the fact that we, Ryan, Jay, and myself, have watched this guy for 4 years. And
5.
It's been repetitive. Okay, 5, Dad. My bad. 5 years of missed tackles, a ton of them, in the run game. And he can't cover a crossing route or a post route to save his life. If you guys want, I can have a Twitter stream of him just getting toasted in passing game and run defense. But the most of all, you go and put him in his weakest link. You put him as strong safety when he's a free safety, and his worst thing is tackling on the rushing offense. I'm just letting y'all know, be prepared week 1. He faced a quarterback 5 years in a row in training camp that got toasted each year with touchdowns again and again and again and again. Rodgers knows the way this kid plays, and that's all I got to say. It's not going to be fun watching, and you're going to be screaming to bench him by week 2. Next, going to Buster Skrine. This still boggles me. Pace paid $4.5 million for this guy. $4.5 million to play nickel cornerback when you had Bryce Callahan and only got signed for $5 million in Denver when he was the number 1 slot corner. It blows my mind that this happened. And Buster Skrine also gave up 124.9 passer rating in the slot where they're going to play him.
It just wasn't good.
I'm speechless because I just Bryce Callahan. I don't get it. He was the best nickel corner last year. Defense worked great. There is a guy named Duke Shelley who was a corner who came out and looked good in camp and has a chance of stealing the job away from Buster Skrine. But Buster Skrine, I watched him last year with the Packers against the Jets when he was with them, get toasted by Jake Kumaro and MVS in the slot. It looked like he was on a wash cycle and a washer, guys. Kumaro hit a little flat route on him, and Skrine almost busted his face trying to catch up with him. Bears defense, I think, takes a regression this year. Not saying much. I know you hold number 1. I think you still might be top 10, top 12, but it's just enough regression where you're not covering up the mistakes for the offense, and I think you drop a couple games and barely miss the playoffs.
Yes. You heard it from Dave, and that was a great job on breaking down the gist of what the Bears kind of look like this year. But before we go tonight, there's one thing we got to do. We need Ryan to pick out a very interesting bedtime story from his interesting bachelor life and put us all
I knew it was coming
at the end of the night. So it's Ryan's show to end the show with whatever story or stories
I have been
he
begging
chooses
for
to tell
one
us.
bedtime story.
So
if he'll do
Ryan,
it.
It's our new segment with Ryan Molstad, Bedtime Stories with The Bachelor.
Can I ask which story we can do, Ryan?
Which one?
I gotta know what happened on the Vikings boat party. Please. I want to know.
I can't talk about that stuff.
Oh.
I can say this.
Are you tied to, like, confidentiality with the Vikings organization?
No, but I did hang out with quite a few different guys, and one is a buddy, and I don't want to cross that line. I did work in pro.
I got you. I don't want you to lose a friend over it.
That's why I said of Ryan's choice.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Let's just say I've seen a lot of crazy shit. And I did work at a sports agency before, and as I told on the first podcast, then after the show wrapped up, we obviously stayed on the line for a little bit, and I told some stories that will stay.
I think it was about an hour.
Yeah, for the most part. But I definitely hung out with Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss one time at a campus bar, and it was a whole bunch of us guys in a fraternity. We literally had us like lined up as like a human shield at a bar, a campus bar, mind you, at the University of Minnesota. Literally just like helping pick out girls for these guys. Like, it was just crazy stuff like that. And being in what should we say, a gentleman's club perhaps in their college days with former NFL players on the Vikings, and Brock Lesnar was there, and the band POD was there. We're all hanging out, and I'm like, I'm an odd person. Like, what am I doing in this group?
Such an odd combination, Brock Lesnar and POD.
Yeah, it was super, super odd. But no, there's a lot of stories like that. A lot of those I can't really tell, unfortunately, because they'll probably hear about it. but yeah, it's been a crazy ride, you know, whether it was when I was actually working in pro sports, and now just obviously as a fan on the side covering stuff, trying to just be on podcasts like this great one. And yeah, I mean, maybe privately we can talk about those stories. Reach out to me on Twitter, and maybe I can tell you those. Packers 365.
Ryan is...
Well, okay.
See, Ryan's thing is, he's got freaking integrity, and he just pisses me off with that integrity shit.
I know. Everyone wants to know about the Viking boat party. God. Well, okay. I gotta ask this. If you have to give us a top three, who were the most fun Vikings you got to hang out with? Like from like, I'm talking about wildest, craziest fun. Who was like the best top three?
Wildest, craziest fun. Well, the guy that I hung out with the most was Jack Brewer, because he had a sports marketing company, and that's who I would hang out with. He was in my fraternity, actually. So he was a fraternity brother. He was a safety at Minnesota, and he played for the Vikings. He actually picked off Brett Favre. I was at that game. He picked off Brett Favre in the dome. So it was always usually with him and then some other guys. So it was like Mo Williams and who else? Klein Saucer would always be out, and Dante was out a couple times.
You ever see Randy?
One time, just the one time. Yeah, he didn't usually come out like that with us. So.
What about Chris Carter? Did he ever come out? Even after he retired, did he ever come out with other Vikings?
No, I never hung out with Chris Carter or met him really personally. So no. But you know, it was interesting because one, I'm like the odd guy that, who is this kid? Like, you know, I'm in my 20s and no one knows who the heck I am, and I'm just kind of tagging along, you know, and then it just happened to be at all these different things where stuff's happening.
So apparently what we just found out about you, Ryan, is that your college career and a few years post-college, you literally were the fly on the wall in NFL circles.
Yes, absolutely. I can definitely say that. I talked to a lot of guys, you know, so I got to see the other side of the world, you know, in terms of the professional sports and how athletes conduct themselves, you know, on and off the field, and all the stuff that happens behind the scenes that just regular people just don't have privy to. You know, I got to definitely see that firsthand. So it's
that's
a crazy
man.
world.
Would you
It's a crazy world.
Would you say in your experience then that things are closer